Hello, here we are with the Metropolitan Elite. Hello, here we are with the Metropolitan Elites. Obviously, we're coming from the sort of upper echelons of society, looking down on everyone else.
Sneering.
Yeah, we're from North London. As you can tell from our accents, obviously we are upper class, and only upper class people talk like this.
Rather.
So, and obviously we're slaves to the secret North London elite. Not going to say what that's obviously a reference to, but it's those ones controlling everything, isn't it? And they rung us up and they said this.
Junior doctors. What do you think about this, Kev? Because you're in a similar situation, really. I mean, your pay is kind of set by the government, is it?
Yeah, it is set by the government. Yeah, so we're next, I'm sure. You can guess who I am.
Well, I actually think teachers got pretty hard that time in the last Parliament.
Yes, yeah, but it's more of an attack on sort of funding and also personal attacks of off-steadiness. Actually faking an entire Trojan horse scandal thing, which was completely fabricated, was aimed at teachers. That whole thing. That's what it was. It was an attack on education. And Michael Gove sends Ofsted in to prove something that turned out to be completely false, but they kind of thought it was for some reason.
So basically, the government thought their job in the last Parliament was to demoralise the teachers, the people who we rely on future prosperity of the country. Yeah. These are the people training our kids who are going to go out into the world and hopefully make it work for us.
Yeah, why would you want to sabotage them? Why would you want to hate on them? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, they've done that now. They've got that out of their system, and now they're turning their eye onto doctors.
Because junior doctors, how much is it they earn? It's like 20 grand or something.
No, it's ridiculously low.
It's just obscene.
I mean, when people actually realise how little they earn compared to peers who go on to different career paths.
Perhaps a job in the city. How much would that earn?
Well, that's it. It's ridiculous. But so the argument is this will the thinking is that the Tories have promised a 24-hour, 7-day service, and somehow the junior doctor current contract ruins that now. I'll tell you something from a bit of personal experience. Well, my girlfriend's a junior doctor. At her hospital, there are not enough junior doctors to fill the training positions they have. So they're having to get locums in to cover the shifts. Yeah, so hitting on junior doctors when there's not enough junior doctors in the system isn't a very smart thing to do. And we've already seen the evidence that the BMA, again, there's a lot of applications for permits to go work abroad, the most ever, sort of thing. So the government are systematically undermining the NHS here.
Yeah, because their biggest problem at all, their biggest problem is that the NHS is really good. The BBC is really good. They're good things, and worldwide they have a reputation for being the best. And that's their problem, and that's why they've really got to be very clever in how they dismantle it, and they need it dismantled to prove their ideology. It's the problem. It's ideological, isn't it?
The fact is that 24-hour, 7 days a week service is quite difficult. I mean, the weekend shift,
which they pretend it wasn't,
which apparently junior doctors don't do, is incredibly grueling because the hospital itself is actually on sort of like skeleton stuff. So it's not the fact that the doctors aren't there, or doctors aren't there. Doctors are there, but all the support services aren't there. So if you need a blood test, you can't get a blood test done. If you need X-rays done, you can't get X-rays done, etc., etc. So let's say we change the contract, we get junior doctors in 7 days a week. We miraculously find these extra junior doctors from somewhere, so we can fill all the posts. Yeah. Well, they're just going to be wandering around doing not a lot because they can't get anything done. We're just going to be piling people into bed, stacking it up, waiting for everyone else to come in on a Monday morning so they can get things moving again. So it's incredibly short-sighted. It's unnecessary because they're saying actually this will be neutral. They won't change the budget for the wage bill.
Yeah. Yes, remember that's not their reasons for doing it aren't practical. Their reasons for doing it are spin, like everything. Yeah. It's because look, see the doctors, they didn't work hard enough. They don't work weekends. We're going to pretend that they don't work weekends. So now more, and that's what they're doing. Everything they're doing is spin. Everything.
Yeah. So on Saturday there is a march in London by the junior doctors, and I feel there is a real threat of a strike actually. The doctors historically they don't go on strike because people can get in trouble. But
if there was ever a time,
this might actually go all the way to a strike, which is unprecedented.
It shows how bad it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't matter how they sort of hide it from in the media. Is not really reporting it properly.
Okay, so did you watch Question Time last night, Kev?
Yes, I watched it today actually.
Yeah.
I don't stay up that late.
Yeah. Anything strike you as interesting?
Well, obviously we had the lady crying. Well, she was very upset. I don't know if she actually cried, so but she was someone very upset. Obviously shouting at the Tory woman whose name escapes me.
Amber Rudd.
Yeah, I felt really bad by that whole experience. It was such a horrible. I wished I hadn't watched Question Time in a way because it was such a grim reality. Or, of course, obviously she's actually a robot built by the BBC because that's not really happening. The BBC invent the audience magically. And it's all lies, and she was an actress, but she's a robot because no one could act that well, etc. But and also the response online of people not being very nice about her because she voted Tory, and I felt really bad about that as well. The whole thing makes me feel kind of sick. And it's so grim. Something horrible has happened to someone, and they were just lied to. Well, it's your own fault then. Well, they were lied to. The Tories lied, and people believed them, and they voted for them.
I mean, it
really
takes. Grim. I mean, it takes a little bit of. You have to be interested in politics to pick it apart.
Yeah.
And that was the sort of at the general election. That was the real sort of desperation of it. It was sort of all the fuzz and all the cracking over the papering over the cracks, and people were actually buying into it. Basically, on the issue of the SNP, jumping into bed to Labour. People actually believe that, and I said it after the general election. Well, the turkeys are voting for Christmas, and then it's starting to. The actual effects of that decision is starting to come in, but you should have compassion for these people.
Yeah.
For all of us, really.
I mean, the thing was, she said about how I thought it was the best for my family, for me, for my family, and people read into that. Well, what she was saying was, they'll cut the benefits of all those lazy layabouts, but I'm working hard. They said hard-working families. It's reading too much into it. We don't know, really. But obviously, she votes for the person who's doing what she thinks is the right thing. And they were lying. So it isn't that she didn't. What she got was not what she voted for. So it isn't that she thought only other people would have cuts. They said they wouldn't do it, and they did lie. They had every intention of doing it.
And it's really annoying because they said they wouldn't increase VAT at the beginning in the run up to the general election last Parliament, and they increased VAT. And it's really annoying that they don't pay any electoral price for that. If Labour lies. Or if Labour U-turns, just look at the absolute
years and years.
Well, look at the Liberal Democrats, yeah? So the Conservatives say they're not going to raise VAT, which affects 100% of people. The Liberal Democrats said they will abolish tuition fees.
Yeah.
Yeah? Which affects a minority of people who may actually not, the majority of which may not vote in the next general election because they've changed the... who can enrol people, and universities can no longer automatically enrol.
Yeah, that's not
students.
That's not a coincidence.
Shaping the electorate, but just look at the price the Liberal Democrats paid for that.
Yeah,
they got absolutely hammered in. Look
at
the price the Conservatives paid for lying on their pledges. Nothing. It's ridiculous.
Because they control the media.
Yeah.
But that poor woman on Question Time, that's got to be, that's Labour's.
I think that's a watershed moment.
Yeah, if Labour don't think, well, that woman now likes Jeremy Corbyn, and she will vote for him. That's what they've got to say to people. Look, this is what has happened to you because of that. It was wrong. You made the wrong decision. That's their chance.
But you've got to give them hope and say, but we can put it right.
Yeah.
As long as you can manage to get to the next general election.
Is it possible to put it right? It's 10 years. It'll be 10 years of dismantlement.
Yeah.
That's a new word. The thing I noticed was that this woman, it was the biggest moment. It was almost headlines.
It was headlines. It's in the Daily Mail.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And the Telegraph were talking about how she now likes Corbyn. The response on Question Time was, right, yes, come on, let's talk about immigration. Stop now. Immigration, and you see it straight away. That's why everyone's talking about immigration. That's why. Don't look over there. Look at the foreigners. Look at them there. They're all dirty. They're coming to take away everything. I've got a great quote from this Tory MP who's decided that Jeremy Corbyn, obviously listening to what the public are saying and actually talking about what the public are saying in Parliament. What a waste of my time. What a waste of my time. The guy's name is Michael Fabricant, and that in itself,
Fabricant.
but the potential comedy there is wonderful. Obviously, he should definitely work at Tory HQ.
Yeah, probably does. Probably he's got a desk next to Grant Shapps, aka Michael Green, the internet swindler.
And Mr. IDS, all these lovely people.
Yeah. So the American Bernie Sanders debated Hillary Clinton this week. The BBC had a rather cursory glance at it. I noticed their coverage was, wow, Hillary did quite well and Bernie's got a problem with gun control.
Don't look over there. It's nothing like what's happening here. No, it's not the same.
I think Donald Trump's been saying something quite interesting as well.
Yeah, we've got a quote. It's brilliant. My ancestors didn't make their way to this country to have immigrants come in and take their jobs. Really? Really? I don't... That's got to be clickbait. It's got... They must know that it's just about spreading it. It must be.
I just pray, honestly, I mean, it sounds like Hillary Clinton had quite a decent performance. She's a bit of a compromise guy. I don't know how she'd fare against
Trump.
An idiot like that.
Well, all her sort of she's very, very political establishment and all that, plays all the game, and all those machinations of what she does would actually be useless against Trump because he wouldn't understand it.
No.
So what would happen?
I think that Bernie Sanders was absolutely crucifying because Bernie Sanders is a guy you listen to. He's a guy who can reach across the aisle in America.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of his issues are the issues of Republican voters.
That's
and
true.
He's got answers for a lot of it.
Yeah.
So I kind of hope Bernie Sanders gets it, and it would change things in this country as well. Quite a lot.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I can't see it happening. The conspiracy theorist in me. So this time I'm being the conspiracy theorist rather than making fun of other conspiracy theorists. That it wouldn't be allowed to happen, and that they would make sure that cannot happen because it would be huge. Such a change, and it would mean here as well. How do the media report that? Let's say Bernie Sanders is the president of America, of Central America, and the media have to report that and then talk about Jeremy Corbyn. Ha, Jeremy Corbyn.
What an idiot!
How do they do it? They couldn't, and all those people would look like idiots. So it can't be allowed to happen. This is not a democracy, not really.
Yeah.
The lizards will take them away. Speaking of which, we spoke to some lizards, and that was all that stuff. They just told us to say that.
Yeah.
Obviously,
because that's not our opinions or anything like that.
Being obviously upper class people from the North London elite,
Yeah.
as you can tell, that's what we were told to say. And we look down from our ivory tower every week, and next time, in 2 weeks' time, we will see you again for more messages from the elite.